Alright, this is Desert Cliffs. We got one base here with the normal Vespian mineral setup, and we got mirrored on the other side with Vespian and minerals. It's pretty much mirrored. I tried to keep it as close to each other as possible. There's some minor differences, but overall you find the bases are pretty much the same. One of the big things you see on the map are cliffs. Different levels of elevation everywhere. That's why it's called Desert Cliffs. It's one of the defining features of this map. You have to be very careful with your units because there's lots of ground differences. You got to make sure you have the high ground, or at least be able to see it so you know when you're getting attacked. They're easy defensible expansions on each side of the map. You got the ramp, which defends both your main and your expansion, and you got this outcropping, which you can put photon cannons, bunkers, spine crawlers, what have you, and you can defend the ramp, which is right there. Again, mirrored on this other side. So one of the interesting things about this map, or another one of the interesting things about this map, I think, is this back area, this back door here. It's very different from most vectors you see. It gives you access to this high ground here, which you can attack down on their base. It's a fairly small ramp, so you're gonna want to put a supply depot there or a pylon. You can keep an eye on it, make sure your enemy is destroying it. Same thing on the other side. Now, you can even be offensive with it and put pylons there, put a pylon there, and maybe even have a mean photon rush. So keep an eye on that high ground. It's very important, not just here, but throughout the map. Alright, so two expansions. We're going to start with this one. This expansion has one destructible rocks, which will get you in there, and two grass line of sight blockers on each side with choke points, so that's the main way to get in. And you just take out this rocks and you got access to the expansion. It's not, since the rocks are there, it's not a quick expansion, so you're not going to take it early in the game. You got two Vespian geysers, the only two actually outside of your expansion in your main. The other two are only high minerals. So you got all of this, and you got also places to do drops, which is very something you want to keep an eye on when you're here, because you can just drop here, destroy those rocks, and get right behind their mineral line. So you want to keep an eye on this, and if you don't have the expansion, you want to use it, because it's a very useful position. And again, this center tower you're going to want to keep an eye on, because it not only gives you vision over this lower expansion, but also gives you vision over this upper expansion and both routes from base to base. The only way they can really get around without you seeing if you have that is through the very back right here, or if they destroy these destructibles here on each side. Yeah, excuse me. Next expansion are these high mineral expansions right here. You can pretty easy to defend, just defend each ramp, and there you go. It's got a bunch of high minerals, so you're going to want to take those if you get into the late game. Pretty easy to take. Just go plop down your expansion there. You also have these two destructible rocks here, which give you access not only to this tower, but also this expansion in the back, which is very easy to defend. When I played on this, you just put some defenses up there, some dudes up there, and you got it pretty much locked down unless they have overwhelming force or a drop. So, well, you should always keep an eye out for drops anyways. But if you get that side tower, you have sight both the front and the back, and they pretty much can't expand there as long as you have that upper high ground, because you just kill any drones or probes or SCVs that go there. So again, this middle and these ramps, pretty cool. What am I talking about here? So yeah, this map was made so that you can do a little bit of turtling in your base, but to get out of your base, it's going to be more difficult, and you're going to have to use your units wisely. So it's going to be crucial to take these points and hold them as the game progresses, because you're right out of minerals in both your main and expansion. You guys be careful when rushing up against their base, because with how defensible the main is, you don't want to lose all your units trying to attack that, because then they could just counterattack and wipe you out. So if you're careful with your units, it's a great map for you. If any of you guys plan it or do any matches on it, just be sure to post, and I'll put it in the video comments. Yeah, so see you guys later.